Hello, how are you? How are you? Take a seat wherever you want for today. You're going to need a pen or pencil. Alright? If you don't have a pen or pencil, I do have some up front in that little green tin. You're missing quite a few folks, so let me see if I can collect everyone. Hello, how are you? You can sit wherever you want for today. I'll assign seats tomorrow. Going to need a pen or pencil. Hello, how are you? You're welcome. Oh, yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. I have one here for you too. Did I give you one of these on your way in? No. Okay. Hello. Have a seat wherever you want for today. Tomorrow I'll be assigning seats when we have our lab period attached to class. Welcome to physics, everyone. Before we get going on this blue sheet, can you all just double check your schedules? We have a couple of physics classes happening at the same time, so I want to make sure you're in the right spot. Okay. So your schedule should say Regents Physics. This is period 8 with Miss Famoso. Yes, if anyone is in the wrong room, we can get you to the right location. Hello. You're welcome. Okay, so here's, yes, we're good? Okay, that's okay, but it says with Miss Famoso, period 8, and you're good. Okay, so what we're going to do, folks, first of all, you're going to see every day when you come to class. I am Miss Famoso, by the way. Welcome. Glad you all made it. I'll take attendance in a couple minutes when you're filling this out, but let me just go over what you see on the screen. Every day when you come to class, there's going to be an announcement from Google Classroom and our Google Classroom stream as to what we're doing today, our agenda, as well as the homework. That announcement will get posted every day at 7 a.m. So if you have notifications turned on, you get emails or on your phone, something like that, you can see exactly what we're going to be doing in class that day, although you may already know, especially when we're working on some things that are longer term. This will get posted because I know a lot of times we're end of the day. Sometimes you have appointments, you have to leave school early, or, sometimes we get sick, we can't be here, whatever reason. I want you to know what you're missing. You will never have to ask me directly. It's there. Part of what we try to do in this level of a course is get you ready for life after high school. I'm not going to treat you as a young child. You're not. Yes, you're still technically children. You're students in the building. But in my eyes, you're a young adult. And I want you to start to learn how to be an adult. Adulting, I'm going to tell you right now, stinks. As an adult, someone who's been an adult for a long time, there are so many responsibilities that you're not even aware of yet that put heavy weight on your shoulders a lot of the time. This is supposed to make the lift for you a lot lighter. So this way you can take some responsibility for yourself without you having to ask me when you're absent, what did I miss? Did I miss anything? Okay, that's a silly question, number one. I'm not going to stop teaching because you're not here. We have to keep going. We have a curriculum from New York State that we have to get through before June. So this is meant to help you understand, number one, what you're going to miss, and number two, what the daily assignments are. If you are not used to keeping an agenda or an assignment notebook, this year you're going to want to start to do that. You are upperclassmen, and the level of responsibility is higher. You don't have access to your phones during the day where you can check assignments and so on and so forth. You're going to need a paper way to record all of your plans, okay, and all of your assignments. It's just something that is good practice as you move forward to getting ready for life after high school, okay? So it doesn't have to be a big plan like mine, little spiral notebook, something to keep yourself so you know what you're doing and that way you can keep track. That way you don't get behind in anything, And then when you're out of school, you can always go back and check this. Now, you'll notice on the top of my screen, you see I've got all these different tabs open on my laptop. There is a Google Meet that is open. That is open not because we have virtual students in the class. This is not a virtual class. However, if you're ever absent from school, but you're still feeling well enough that you could join class live, you just can't be here because COVID is still a thing. You get COVID, you can't come into school for 5 days or something like that. You can still join our class live, so you don't have to watch a recording or get the notes from somebody else or whatever. That's a real pain. So if you want to join our Google Meet, there is a link to this Meet every day. You can just join at the start of class. I'll see you're there, and I may ask you questions from time to time. Hey, how you doing? You doing okay? I've even had students that joined me from the Albany airport. They're waiting for a flight to go on a vacation. Or they're on the thruway driving to a college for a college visit. I don't care where you're joining from. I'd rather you be present in class, either in person here or live on the computer. I really don't care. Either way is good for me because then you still learn what you need to be learning. And it's better for you too. Okay. Now, the other reason I have the Google Meet open, you can see on the Meet on the right, you see there's that red, looks like a bullseye. That's an indication that that Meet is being recorded. I record every class that I teach live. And then what I do with that recording, Google will then process it when I end the recording after our period is over. And a couple hours later, usually, if everything is going well, I'll get an email that the recording has now been processed by Google. I then download it, I upload it to a private YouTube channel that I have for your class, and then I post the link in our Google Classroom. So at the end of today's announcement later today, it will be edited to include a recording from today. So if you need to go back and revisit anything we've done, or you're too sick to, you're not here today, you're sick, you need to go back and get the notes that you missed. You don't have to ask a friend. You can actually watch the recording of me teaching the class and going through everything just as if you were here. Okay. And that happens every day. All right. You don't have to worry about yourself being on the recording unless you're up front in front of the camera on my laptop. Okay, so don't worry about that. But I do want you to participate. I just want to make you aware that that is how I do things. Gives you more independence and more responsibility for your own learning. I've had students say to me that that was the most wonderful thing they've ever done because in a class like this, sometimes, especially when we have a double period, we might zone out. And then we lose track of what just happened. We missed a couple of seconds of what just happened, and now you're lost. You can now go back and review it on your own without having to ask for help. It's a way to enable you to be responsible for your own learning. Okay? Any questions about that? All right. So that's just kind of what's going on here. You can see there is some homework, but it's just logistical stuff. I'll talk about that when we get there. So welcome. I'm Ms. Finoso. I want to do a little bit of introductions, and then I'll go through this with you, okay? To help facilitate what I'm doing today, I do have a PowerPoint, which I now need to shift over to. And the PowerPoint is just so I stay on track. You will learn as you get to know me that I sometimes go on tangents, and I need to get back on track or we don't finish. So welcome to physics. And let me just give you a little bit about me. This is my family right here. It's just me and my daughter. Do any of you know my daughter? How do you know her? Oh, so at Christ Our Light. So then you know me too from church.
I met her at the leadership conference.
Hopi?
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. My daughter is at Shaker. She's a junior this year, just like a lot of you. So we are parishioners at Christ Our Light Church here in Loudonville. I'm one of their cantors. So if you ever happen to go there, I sang at, last year we had a student who passed away suddenly in February, John Verbo. I sang at his funeral there. Just not that I knew him. He had Mrs. Vernold, who's one of our other physics teachers in physics, but all of my students knew him. And so I was there as a way to support the family and the community and all of my students who had him. But I sing. That's what I do on the side. If I wasn't a physics teacher, I'd be a singer. Probably be a very poor singer, but I'd be a singer. And anyway, so it's just me and my daughter. My daughter's name is Juliana, although she likes to be called Grayson. And we have 3 puppies. 3 dogs. As you can see, you'll hear a lot of our physics problems we solve will be involving Ellie, Miko, and Nugget, just because it's fun. I love animals. One of the things that we do, my daughter and I do this together, it's a way for mother-daughter bonding, is we are involved in animal welfare, animal rescue. So we currently have 5 dogs in our home right now, 2 of which are foster puppies. Josie and Gemma, they're 4-month-old lab mixes. And my house is a little crazy right now with 5 dogs. But 2 of them hopefully are going to find their forever families, and we'll help place them. Over the summer, we had 4 dogs that we adopted out. And one of them was adopted by some local radio disc jockeys on a morning radio program. And so we hear about Lulu every day on the radio, which is pretty cool. So anyway, if any of you want a puppy or a dog, you let me know. Sometimes they will come in after school and be in the room, because part of what I have to do with animal rescue is we try to get the dogs familiar with and comfortable with people. So if you want to come play with a puppy, I'll let you know when they're going to be here, and you can just come and hold the puppy. So anyway, that's us. This is a picture of our high school. I'm showing you that because I was a student here. I graduated from Colony High School back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. And I think I may have gone to school with some of your parents who are also graduates. After I graduated, I went to RPI, which is across the river in Troy, New York. My degree is not in education. I've never taken an education class on how to teach students. Sorry. And I didn't go to school for physics. I went to school for engineering. My degree is in biomedical engineering. And what that means, I learned how to do was make medical devices. And when I graduated, I actually went to work first as an engineer. I worked for this company, Humanetics, outside of Boston. They're still in business, and they make machines that collect blood. So if we ever have a blood drive here at the high school, you will see some of the machines that I helped design, namely a machine like this, where blood is drawn in, it spins the blood as you're donating it, and then it separates it into the components of the blood, and it gives you back what they don't want. Based upon your blood type, they only want one component of your blood. That's it. The rest of it gets thrown out. So this is a little more efficient. It's better for the patient. It's better for the donor. It's a longer procedure, and that's why a lot of people don't do it. After I worked there, I came to work here, and this is a picture of my extended family. You may recognize, I know it's not a great picture with the light on, you may recognize that character over there. Anybody know who that is? Mr. Canestraci. My maiden name is Canestraci. He is my brother. So, so that's our family. My mom and dad are still around. You may see them at concerts. They go to every one of his concerts. Do they ever come to any of my physics students' presentations? No. Why? Because they're the old generation. When I was born first. My nonna, my grandma, said to my mom, better luck next time, because I was a girl. So anyway, that's why they go to my brother's second. I'm a little bitter about that. Can you tell? You'll hear a lot of sibling rivalry stories here in physics class. So if you have him, it's okay. He knows what they are. You can tell him. It's fine. But tomorrow, if you have him in orchestra, you need to go up to him tomorrow and say, guess who I have? I have Miss Famoso. It's the best class ever. Because I am tired of hearing students come in, guess who I have for orchestra? I love Mr. C. Nobody ever goes in him and says, I have Miss Famoso. It's the best ever. Okay, anyway, enough. Before we learn about what physics is, let's now go through this. I want you to tell me a little bit about you. And we don't have time to take the whole class to do that. So let's go through this blue sheet. This is going to help me out. Pen or pencil, just the front, okay? If you don't mind printing, because I know some of you are studying, want to go into medicine and be a doctor, and your handwriting is going to reflect that. I would like you to print because I haven't figured out your handwriting yet. Okay, so because I am actually going to read these tonight. So go ahead, put your last name and then your first name. And if you have a name you would prefer to be called by instead of what's on my roster, you can write it there as well. Just so I know, I get used to calling you by whatever name you want. And then for the period, please put 8. What grade are you in school? That should be an easy question. Who is your guidance counselor? I just need to know their last name. I'd like to know what your interests and hobbies are. That's because physics is the study of the natural world. So almost every hobby that you have or interest you have can be related. I can talk to you all about the physics of that hobby. And so I would like to do that through the course. That way the content seems more relevant to you. I think that's a good thing. I'd like to know what you're thinking you want to do after high school, maybe college, maybe a career, maybe a gap year, traveling the world. I don't know. Military. Go ahead and tell me what you think you want to do. I'd also like to know, and this is just for my own interest, something interesting about you that maybe not a lot of people know. I had a student a couple years ago write down that over this, and actually this was the next thing, something interesting he did over the summer. He played video games all summer long, entered a competition, and ended up winning a $60,000 scholarship by doing it. I was like, what? You did what? To me, that's like, really, that's different, right? You all are unique individuals. I want to know what makes you unique. Okay. So that answers the next two things. Something about yourself and something that you're looking over the summer. What are you looking forward to learning in this class? I'm sure there's something. You actually studied some physics in middle school. And so if you think back to middle school physical science, that's all physics. They don't necessarily call it physics because that word might seem a little scary. So something that you thought was interesting back in middle school science that you want to learn about this year, I'd love to hear about that. And then also, physics does make people nervous sometimes. If you're nervous about anything, go ahead and put it there. It's okay. I get it. My job now will be to alleviate your anxiety and try to make this as accessible as I can to you, as easy as I can for you. Now, while you're completing that, I just want to take attendance. I am going to apologize right now for mispronouncing names. Please don't take it personally. I'll tell you, when I was growing up in school, my first name is Michelle, but on all the data processing rosters back in those days, they couldn't fit my full name on there. It was too many characters. So my name always showed up as Michel. And therefore, every teacher, first day of school, Michael Canestracci. After third grade, I got really angry. It's not Michael, it's Michelle. Even when I graduated from RPI, and they announced my name, it was one of News Channel 13's newscasters was a graduate of RPI, so he always did the names for us. Michael Canestracci. I was so miffed, I yelled, "It's not Michael, it's Michelle!" Who got their name read twice in that graduation. So I got to walk across the stage with my name properly said. So it's okay. Don't take it personally. If I mispronounce your name, just correct me, and I promise I will do my hardest, work my hardest to get your name right. It'll take me a couple of days because I have a lot of students this year. And I'm old. So sometimes it takes me a little longer to remember things. All right, here I go. These are in no particular order. Morgan. Okay. First one here today. Bonus points. Thank you. Anya. Great. Thank you. And again, if I'm not saying your name right, just tell me. Huzaifa? Did I say that right? I did. Huzaifa. Okay, great. Braden. Excellent. Okay. Kine? Keenan. See, I won't remember that. I'm going to put an accent over your E. That will help. There is?
Yeah.
Well, I wrote it down now, so hopefully I'll get it right next time. Eileen? Miranda? Dominic? Caroline? Anson? Gianni? Aiden? Great. Jacoby? Oluki? Oluchi with a CH. Yep. Okay. Ryan? No, Ryan. Okay. Alexis? Ashley? Alyssa's sister. Okay, now I see your last name. I'm like, okay, now I know why she looks familiar. Liam? Tell Alyssa I said hi, by the way. I love you. Still love her. Angela, Manor, did I say that right? And Jax. Excellent. Anybody I missed? Okay, very good. Give you anyone need more? I think you need more time, right? Some of you need more time. I see you still writing. While you are doing that, I'm just going to hand out our next and only other handout for today. You're welcome. By the way, just a quick note about cell phones. You know the policy. If I see it, I just have to call an administrator. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to let them deal with it. Okay. Unfortunately, I have some fairly serious health issues that I'm dealing with right now in my family, for me and my family. I have to have my phone on me because when a doctor calls, I need to take that call. All right. Hopefully, the issues are going to resolve very quickly, but in the meantime, and I hate it because I feel like I'm a hypocrite having my phone on me when you're not allowed to have it, but I have to have it. That's part of, unfortunately, that's one of the things about being an adult. Adulting stinks when you have to have this responsibility for yourself, your children, and your parents. A lot of issues happening right now all at the same time. It's driving me nuts. That's why I have all the dogs. That's my therapy, having dogs. They're my emotional support animals, which means maybe I can actually bring them to class and keep them here in school. I don't know. Then they could just sit on your lap all class. I had a student last year who, when we did review in June, came in just to sit with the puppy in review class. She sat there and pet the puppy the whole time. Like, cool. Good by me. Don't worry about the back. The back is because, again, I'm old and I don't remember things 5 minutes after I say them. So if I ever have a conversation with somebody about you, whether it's email or on the phone, just good or bad, I write it down just so I remember that I actually had that conversation. And the top is just so I can go back and look at your previous coursework, your grades there, so I can see if there's anything I'm going to get a little nervous with. Hopefully I'm like, yes, they're all awesome students. Or, oh, we need a little help with the math. I can help that person. But I can promise you by the end of this class, you will be better at math. That's one thing. And there is a good amount of math, but it's, I don't know. I've been told I'm a good math teacher too. So not that I actually teach math, but physics part of math. Okay. While you're finishing that up, let me just start this video. Just so that way it's like 3 minutes about what physics is. I thought it's very fast. It's going to tell you everything we're studying this year in 3 minutes. So you know what physics is all about.
The universe is like an endless room with endless treasures and secrets. The deeper we go into it, the more interesting it gets. Human mind is filled with immense curiosity to find out all the hidden secrets of the universe. This curiosity has developed from the visible phenomenon of nature occurring around us in our daily lives. Mankind has observed the nature's gift from the beginning of the universe. The burning fire out of stones and the heat emerging from the fire, the thunder, lightning, and a stormy night, sounds of thunder, the days and nights, the sun and the moon, and lots of other things that make the universe a wonder, provoke human mind to find out more about them. Physics is a Greek word which means knowledge of nature. Physics deals with the study of nature and properties of matter, energy, and their relationship. Physics include all kinds of matter. In smallest form, it includes atoms and the tiniest particles that make up an atom. And in larger physical forms, it includes stars, planets, and the universe. It includes energy in all forms like light, air, sound, magnetism, gravity, etc. In other words, physics teaches us about the study of naturally occurring objects that might not even have a shape, but are fundamentals in occurrence of the universe. A brief overview. Physics, in particular, focuses on some of the most fundamental questions about our physical universe. Physics can also be described as the science dealing with physical quantities. In this regard, physics is widely considered to be the most fundamental and important of all the natural sciences. Physics and mathematics are closely related to one another. It could be said that mathematics is the language of physics. That is another way of better understanding what physics is. Numerical values, units of measurement, and similar concepts are all mathematical in nature and are used to describe physics in the most accurate and precise manner. Physics has several branches dealing with different forms of matter and energy in space and time. Acoustics, the study of sound and sound waves. Astronomy, the study of space. Astrophysics, the study of physical properties of objects in space. Optics, the study of propagation, behavior, and properties of light. Thermodynamics, the study of heat and its relation with energy and work. Geophysics, the study of the shape, structure, and composition of Earth and its crust. Atomic physics, it deals with the study of composition of atom apart from nucleus. Other than these, physics has various other branches that we'll cover over a period of time.
All right. A lot of stuff in there, really quick. Anyone need more time to do the blue sheet? All right, then could you please pass them down this way to this side of the room and I'll collect them up. And then we'll go through that yellow handout. I already did this. Talked about our class meetings being recorded. Thank you. I can tell already we're going to have a good time in this class. You guys seem to be on the ball here. All right, let's talk about what you need to have for class. I say every day, although realistically they're not every day, but just to be safe. Things that you need for this class, you need your Chromebook and a charger. We do a lot of stuff with the sensors on your Chromebook. Since we don't have access to your phones anymore because they're in your locker, we are going to use the sensors on your Chromebook to collect data in labs. Okay, there's stuff there that I've been learning how to use over the summer. I would recommend, because I don't have enough chargers for each of you, that you charge your Chromebook every night. Get in the habit. You go to bed, it's plugged in, and then you just unplug it from the wall and bring it with you to school. That way it's fully charged when you come to school. Okay, I know we're end of the day, but I don't know how much you'll be using it in your other classes before this. So hopefully it's still got a good amount of charge to get through our class. Bring your scientific or graphing calculator with you. Doesn't matter what kind of calculator you have. I know in chemistry on the Regents, you couldn't use a graphing calculator. On ours, you can. So whatever calculator you're using in your math class, you can use it here. Thank goodness, finally. You don't have to have multiple calculators. So the TI-84 Plus, if you have that, or just a regular scientific calculator, don't go buy something new. Just whatever you have will be fine here. You'll need a notebook or alternatively loose leaf paper. That's fine. I don't care. Some way to take notes. You'll also either need a 2-pocket folder or a 3-ring binder with dividers to keep track of all these handouts you're going to get from me this year. There are quite a few of them, and I don't want you throwing anything out. So however you want to keep yourself organized, by the end of the year, the stack of handouts is like this. So I don't want you to go buy a $10 binder for this class. That's ridiculous. Buy a 50-cent pocket folder and get 4 of them. 4 of them, 1 for each marking period, and you're good. Okay? Just sometimes people prefer the binder so things don't fall out. You need graph paper. You don't have to go buy graph paper. In our Google Classroom, there is a posting for graph paper, and it's printable. So you can just go to the library, print maybe 20 sheets, and you're done. That's all you're going to need for the year. Pens are needed for tests only. We don't use pen for anything else. And I'm a stickler about that because I hate seeing all these crossouts. I want you to write in pencil and then erase, except on a test. On a test, it's standard dark blue or black ballpoint, not a gel pen. They smudge and they bleed through the page, which can be a real problem on the Regents exam. And make sure you have a good eraser. We're all human. We're all going to make lots of mistakes, especially me. When I make them on the screen, go ahead and feel free to point it out. Miss Famoso, I think that's wrong. Go ahead. I'll erase it and fix it. The other thing you're going to need, and I'm not sure you've used these before, are protractors. Do you know what a protractor is? Okay, they're used for measuring angles, not drawing them necessarily, but measuring them. This is a protractor, these half circle. This is a really small one. This is actually the preferred size. If you don't have this size already, that is okay. I do not want you to go and buy another one unless you really want to. You probably have one that's maybe 5 inches or 6 inches long. That's okay. In class, if we're using a diagram that's smaller and you need a small one instead, we can swap. I'll say, give me your big one. I'll give you one of my class small ones. And then at the end, we'll swap back. All right, because I don't have enough for everybody. And you also need a metric ruler. Metric just means you either have centimeter or millimeter markings on that ruler. We will never use inches. So you want to make sure it is metric. And it doesn't have to be a big one. A small one like that is fine. Okay, whatever you have. Again, I prefer that you not go out and buy stuff if you don't need to. Any questions about materials? Okay, that's all right here on the front of this course outline. Let's now look at how I compute your quarterly grade. 30% of your quarterly average will come from your lab grades. The lab grades you earn are not completion grades. They are, did you do it correctly? Grades. So if you got an 80%, usually it's out of 10 points. So 8 out of 10 means you lost 2 points on something you made mistakes. We'll talk about those mistakes later, how you can get those points back. But right now, just know you want to be, since they're being graded for correctness, you want to be as careful as you can on your labs. 40% for your unit exams or tests, 20% for quizzes on small little topics in each unit, and this 10% college and career readiness, which should be the easiest grade to earn ever. We'll talk about that in a minute. Homework, there is homework in this class. Physics is really about practicing skills. Much less about content, but practicing skills. You're going to see me do problems over and over and over in class. And when you do them with me, they're going to seem pretty easy to do. It better. I've been teaching this a long time, 27 years, 3 times a day for 27 years. So I know all the ins and outs and know how to do them quick. And you're going to be able to do them with me because I'm going to guide you through it. But when it comes time for you to now have to do it on your own in a set amount of time, it gets harder, right? Just so you're going to need to practice. And that's what homework is about. It's just practicing. Just like if when you play an instrument, to get any better at something, you got to practice it. Sports, same thing. You got to practice to improve. And that's what I want for you here too. Just so that way you're not stressing yourself out going, oh, I really don't know what I'm doing on this test. If you did the homework and you practiced a little bit more, you might be better at it. So that's that. It could include studying, reviewing notes, working on a lab, practice questions, things of that nature. It's only 20 minutes a day. So instead of doom scrolling on your phone or watching cat videos on TikTok, 20 minutes for physics instead. Okay, labs. This is, I have to say the first part, we are a Regents course, which means New York State education law mandates that we do 1,200 minutes at a minimum of hands-on or virtual labs with you during the year. We go way beyond that. That doesn't mean 30 class periods. It's 1,200 minutes. Not every 40-minute period we're going to do they won't count all 40 minutes for the lab. There are certain things that they will count. So we go way beyond that 1,200 minutes in case New York State ever audits our lab program. Last thing we want is for them to look at a lab we did. They ask us, the teachers, how many minutes are you assigning to that lab activity? We tell them and they go, no, we're not giving you that. That's too much. Only 20 minutes of that 40 minutes is actual lab work. So if that happens on every lab in an audit, then your credit in the course towards a Regents diploma could be in jeopardy. We don't want that to happen. So we go way beyond. All right. What it does mean, though, is that every lab you do, you have to do every lab. You can't have missing labs because then you individually might be in jeopardy of losing your credit for the course. And New York State also says that they have to be satisfactory. In physics, our Colony Heights physics department has decided that 50% on the lab grade is a satisfactory grade for the lab. Is a 50% on a lab a good grade? Do you want a 50% for a lab average? No, of course you don't. So you're going to want to just do your best. I'm just letting you know, if you really bombed a lab, you're going to have to fix it. You don't have a choice if you want to pass the course and get credit for this. So it shouldn't be a big deal. This is a little bit of a big deal. This is something we do in physics that we don't do in chemistry or living environment or earth science. All the labs you do have to be done and satisfactory by the end of the marking period. So the lab that we're going to start tomorrow, once I collect it, it's a first quarter lab. Let's say you're absent tomorrow when we do this lab, or you're absent the day I collect it. When am I going to need that lab by? What is it? First week of November is the end of the marking period. It's got to be done and turned in by then. If I grade it and you get a 4 out of 10, that's not satisfactory, I'll be reaching out to you to say, hey, come on in. We got to fix this lab. So that way you've met the lab requirement. And you will get points back for doing that on your grade. So don't be upset about that. It's just the way it is. If for whatever reason a lab isn't done when it was in the marking period, or you've got failing lab after failing lab after failing lab, and you're not coming in to fix those with me, I am going to have to put an F on your report card. What does an F translate to in your GPA? It's a 50. Doesn't matter if you have a 95 average otherwise. In here, you're going to get a 50 from me on your report card. Why is that? Because if they're not done by the end of the year, it's a way to kind of signal, hey, you're not meeting one of the requirements of this class to pass the course. And we don't like to do labs in June that should have been done in September. Why? It takes away from our time, the entire class time reviewing for the Regents exam. My time in June is to help you prepare for the Regents exam, which, by the way, is our final exam for the course. So, you know, there's no separate final. That is it. Okay. Any questions about that? By the way, let's say you have a lab that's missing at the end of the marking period and you come in a week later to make it up. I can then go back and change your grade. So that F won't stay there. It's there as a kind of indicator to you and to the folks at home that you haven't met the requirements of the class yet. Okay. And that really shouldn't happen. I think in my 27 years, 2,500 students I've taught. I've had to give an F because of the lab requirement 3 times. So it's not, I don't expect it to be a big deal. I'm just putting it out there that that's what we do. Okay. All right. College and career readiness, that final 10% fudge score here. This is a score that is designed to indicate to you if you are working on developing those skills that you need to have to be ready for the real world, whether it's a college or a career or the military. The skills that I'm going to be assessing every day from you are things like being on time to class. I know today was the first day you weren't sure where the room is. Now you know where the room is. So that means tomorrow, when that bell rings to start 8th period, you should be in the room. You should not be down the hall. The exception to that is if you have a pass in securely from another teacher. That's okay. When you show up, I'll then end your pass. Now you're on time. Okay, but if you show up without a pass, that's when I'm upset. Okay, because you need to be here on time. I also expect that you're participating in class, you're engaged, and you're completing your homework on time. So if you've met these requirements, like you're prepared and on time, that daily's grade is going to be a 1 out of 1, 100%. If you're late to class, or your homework isn't done, or your head is down on the desk and you're sleeping, or you're on your cell phone in class, or doing whatever on your smartwatch, which you're not supposed to have on you either, then we get a 0. And I will be putting a note with that grade in Aspen as to why you got a 0 that day. So it's clear. There's no, and it is what it is. It's just, okay, you didn't meet the skills. Any questions about that? Pretty straightforward, I think. Okay. Extra credit, I do give extra credit. And I don't do it like, here's a news article, read it, write a paragraph summary of it, and turn it in for credit. Why? To me, that's baloney. I want to give you an incentive to work on improving your physics skills for this class and to improve your grade. So hopefully in the long run, that's a benefit to you as well. I don't want to give you busy work. I want to give you work that will actually help get your grade better. So things that I do for every unit exam, you are eligible to earn half your points back on your multiple choice through test corrections. So let's say you lost 20 points on a unit test from the multiple choice. You do the corrections. I'll give you a sheet to do the corrections on. You have 1 week to do them, and it requires a signature from somebody at home just to say that, okay, I saw you did it. You turn it into me. You've now corrected them, and they are correct. You're not just telling me the answer to number 1 was B. You're then telling me why it's B. You're showing me how you know it's B now. I'll then give you half the points you lost then. So with this example I was just talking about, let's say you got an 80 on a test, and you do your test corrections, and they're right. What's your new grade in S then going to be? A 90. That's pretty cool, right? Okay. The other thing is correcting labs. Same thing. Half the points back. One thing before you go. Your homework is to read this last bit, and then it requires a signature for the lab safety. That page is due back to me by Monday. The signature page, okay? Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.